Today we are looking at a new dog food. This time comes from Eden Holistic Pet Foods here in the UK. Now this is one of the very few actual companies that headquarter in the UK and that remain independent. They have a wide range of products, and in their latest iteration they have come up with their Gourmet range, which is the one we are going to analyze today. And so the first thing you need to do for everything you give your dog is for you to read the ingredients for everything you give them, because that tells you the story. Manufacturers cannot lie on the back of that bag of dog food. They can be a bit deceiving and tell you what you want to see and what you want to hear on the front of every single pack, but they cannot lie in the ingredients list. And so we are going to take a look at Eden Holistic Pet Foods and see how the Gourmet range fares. Now, there's another thing very, very interesting for you to know, and that is that we are completely independent and we will remain independent. So everything we say is our own opinions. The first recipe we are going to look at is the Gourmet range duck and herring, and this will set you back £25 here in the UK. And they say that it's highly nutritious and tastes delicious, a delectable pairing of duck and herring in highly digestible kibble, high in omega-3, etc, etc. The composition, we straight out of the bat see that it is a 60-40 food. What that means is that what you are paying for, what you want to be paying for, is meat, a high proportion of meat, because that's what costs money. If I ask you what costs more, a kilo of chicken or a kilo of broccoli at your local supermarket, you will say that a kilo of chicken is more expensive. And so with dog food and cat food, we want to see as much meat content as possible, which is what we are paying for, which is what costs money. First ingredient is 60% duck and herring. And out of that, the freshly prepared duck is 43%. Dry duck is 6.5%, duck fat is 5.5%, and dried herring is 3.5%, with duck stock being 1.5%. So we see duck and herring as the main proteins on the bag of dog food, yet herring is only 3.5% of the bag of dog food. Now, duck is quite an expensive meat, is quite a fatty and nutritious, really, really nice and really lovely source of protein, but that comprises almost the entirety of the whole recipe when it comes to that 60%, and 3.5% is the herring. And then we get into the 40% vegetables, and then we get 20.5% sweet potato, chickpea flour, potato protein, pea fiber, 2.5% tapioca, etc, etc. Now, there's a few things that I want to comment on, but I will do so towards the end of the video. The next recipe we are going to look at is the goose and turkey, which is quite rare for a manufacturer to be putting goose in a dog food. And again, this is a £25 bag of dog food. We have 60% goose, rabbit, and turkey. So it isn't just a goose and turkey dog food, it's goose, rabbit, and turkey. We get freshly prepared goose, which is 26% of the bag. Then we get into the freshly prepared turkey, 11.5%, and dry turkey, 11%, with turkey fat, 5.5%, 4% rabbit, 2% gravy, etc, etc. And the vegetables are again going to be 40% of those pounds that you are spending on these dog food, and I will review them towards the end. The third one is the salmon and pheasant, and this again will set you back another £25. We get into the same format, the same 60-40, where 60% is salmon and pheasant, freshly prepared salmon is 33%, and dried salmon is 13.5%. Salmon oil is 7.5%, which in my opinion is a bit high whenever we talk about salmon as a meat, and then we get freshly prepared pheasant, and that's only 4%. Salmon gravy 2%, etc., etc. Again, we see a manufacturer that's telling you that is salmon and pheasant, yet only 4% is pheasant in this bag of dog food. The other ingredients are salmon and salmon oil, which is 7.5%. Now, I am not against a tiny bit of salmon oil because that is beneficial, full of omega-3s, full of essential amino acids for your dog, yet 7.5% seems a bit high in my opinion. Now, let's get into the vegetables here. They seem to be using sweet potato as the main carbohydrate, as the main binder. Now, in order for kibble to be bound together, we need some sort of carbohydrate, and we can have good carbohydrates or we can have really poor carbohydrates. Really poor carbohydrates could be things like rice, wheat, barley or corn. Those are quite inflammatory, and something like oats or sweet potato in this case are in the low glycemic side of the equation, and that tends to be quite positive. Now, the main question I have for you is it worth your time paying 20% and 20% and 19% sweet potato for a bag of dog food? I don't know. This is the crux of the thing. We then get into the chickpea flour, which is not something I want to see in dog food, and then pea fiber, which is okay. Another ingredient I don't really like all that much is the potato protein thing. Now, if you are going to be paying for protein, we want our protein to be coming from animal sources. So your chicken, your goose, your pheasant, your turkey, all those are wonderful sources of protein. Yet Eden here have included potato protein, I would imagine, to boost the amount of protein you get within the recipe. But it is coming from potato, which again, we don't really want to be paying for. We want to be paying for meat. Now, Eden have some absolutely wonderful foods. The country cuisine, the original cuisine, those original recipes are straight 80-20 bags of dog food, and they are absolutely wonderful. We also have the working dog food range, which is very, very high in meat. Again, it's a 80-20 bag of dog food, and they include the semi-moist as well, which is a wonderful product with soft kibble, and that is a 60-40 food, and it is £2 cheaper than your gourmet range. What do we think about the gourmet range? It is okay. It's okay. It comes from Eden, so they are very reputable. They take a lot of pride in what they do in terms of ingredients. The thing I don't like about this recipe is the high proportion of sweet potato they put in the bags of dog food. I wouldn't want my dog to be getting 20% sweet potato and the rest coming from chickpea flour, pea fiber, potato protein, tapioca, etc., etc. Now, is it acceptable for a dog food to have 20% sweet potato? Yes. Would you be able to feed these dog food to your dog and for the dog to be happy and to be lovely? Yes, the dog will live a very, very happy life because they are all pretty good ingredients. Is it worth the money? It is at the upper echelon in terms of pricing. And if you like what we say about these reviews, I want you to watch this next video.